Serena Jamaica Williams' story begins in the quiet yet challenging neighborhoods of Compton, California, where dreams often collided with harsh realities. Born on September 26, 1981, Serena grew up in a family where discipline, determination, and belief were not just words, they were survival tools. Her father, Richard Williams, and mother, Oracene Price, were determined to give their daughters opportunities they themselves never had. Tennis was chosen not because it was easy or accessible, but because it was a sport dominated by privilege, a world that seemed impossible for kids from Compton. But Richard believed that impossible was just a word. From the age of 3, Serena was introduced to tennis alongside her older sister Venus. Their training didn't happen in fancy clubs or polished tennis courts. Instead, the sisters practiced on cracked surfaces, surrounded by crime-ridden streets, where hearing police sirens during practice was normal. Yet those surroundings never broke their spirit. In fact, they built the mental toughness that would define Serena's entire career. Richard Williams had a plan, often considered unusual, even extreme. He carried a notebook full of strategies, goals, and predictions for his daughter's future. He envisioned them becoming world champions long before anyone else did. While many doubted him, he continued shaping Serena and Venus with strict but loving coaching. Serena's early style of play showed something extraordinary: raw power, natural aggression, and a fearless mindset. Even as a child, she hated losing. She would analyze every mistake, determined to never repeat it. By the time Serena reached her early teens, the sisters had already begun to attract attention. They trained hours every day, sometimes in the burning California sun, sometimes early in the morning before school. Their mother, Oracene, contributed to their emotional strength, teaching them humility, patience, and the importance of education. Despite rapid growth in tennis, Serena and Venus were kept grounded with strong family values. As Serena entered junior tournaments, her dominance became obvious. She won matches with a combination of speed, precision, and sheer power rarely seen in young players. She had an inner fire, one that made it clear she was destined for greatness. However, Richard soon pulled Serena and Venus out of the junior circuit entirely. He believed they didn't need the pressure, and he wanted to protect them from burnout and discrimination. Many critics called it a risky move, but Richard's strategy worked. It allowed Serena to mature away from the spotlight, strengthening her game both mentally and physically. In 1995, at the age of 14, Serena turned professional. She entered a world where very few expected her to succeed. Women's tennis was dominated by established stars, and young Serena, shy, soft-spoken, but fiercely competitive, was stepping into a battlefield. Her first major breakthrough happened in 1997 when she stunned top-ranked players like Mary Pierce and Monica Seles. Her victories sent shockwaves through the tennis world and introduced fans to her explosive talent. But success didn't come instantly. Serena struggled at times, losing matches she was expected to win, fighting inconsistencies, and learning how to handle high-pressure moments. Yet every setback only made her stronger. Serena studied her opponents, adapted her game, and worked relentlessly to improve her footwork, strategy, and serve. Her serve in particular was becoming legendary: fast, powerful, and nearly impossible to return. By the year 2000, Serena was ready for greatness. At just 27 years old, she walked onto the courts of the U.S. Open with confidence and a deep belief in herself. Match after match, she displayed maturity beyond her age. Her fearlessness, combined with her powerful ground strokes and dominating serve, carried her all the way to the final. There, she faced Martina Hingis, one of the most dominant players of that era. But Serena played the match of her life, defeating Hingis and becoming the first African-American woman in the Open era to win a Grand Slam singles title. The victory changed everything. Serena was no longer seen as just Venus's younger sister or a talented newcomer. She was a champion in her own right. Her win marked a new era in tennis. It was clear that Serena Williams was not simply participating, she was preparing to rule. Over the next few years, Serena continued to build her legacy. She reached major finals, improved her consistency, and refined her mental game. Despite injuries and tough losses, her determination never faded. She believed that greatness was not a moment, it was a lifelong pursuit. By the early 2000s, Serena and Venus together had transformed women's tennis. Their power, athleticism, and competitive spirit forced the entire sport to evolve. Serena, however, had something unique, an intensity that made her unstoppable in big moments. She thrived under pressure, often elevating her game when the stakes were highest. Her journey from the streets of Compton to the world stage wasn't just inspiring, it was revolutionary. Serena wasn't just playing tennis, she was rewriting the rules, breaking barriers, and proving that champions can come from the most unexpected places. Serena Williams entered the 2000s with a fire that only grew brighter. Her game continued to evolve, becoming more strategic and more polished, without losing the raw power that defined her early years. She trained tirelessly, focusing on her serve, movement, and mental discipline. Her rivalry with Venus became one of the most iconic in sports history. Two sisters, trained by the same parents, battling each other in the biggest finals in the world. Their matches were intense, yet respectful, a celebration of family and excellence. In 2002 and 2003, Serena reached the peak of her dominance. She won the French Open, Wimbledon, and the US Open, completing what came to be known as the Serena Slam, holding all 4 Grand Slam titles at the same time. Her athleticism, strength, and competitive mindset placed her on a level unmatched in women's tennis. However, life was not without challenges. Injuries began to trouble her, slowing her down at times and forcing her to take long breaks. She also faced personal hardships, including the tragic loss of her half-sister Yetunde Price. These events deeply affected Serena, but she refused to give up. Her resilience was as powerful as her serve. By 2007, Serena made one of the most remarkable comebacks in sports history. She entered the Australian Open ranked number 81, with critics doubting whether she could ever return to her best form. But Serena's response was overwhelming. She fought through each round with intensity, eventually winning the title and silencing every critic. It was a reminder that Serena Williams was not defined by rankings, she was defined by greatness. Her career over the next decade became a masterpiece of longevity. She dominated opponents, winning title after title, including multiple Wimbledon, US Open, and Australian Open championships. Her serve reached speeds unheard of in women's tennis. Her forehand became a weapon of destruction, and most importantly, her mental strength made her nearly unbeatable in tight matches. One of the defining moments of her career came between 2014 and 2015 when she completed another Serena Slam, once again holding all 4 major titles at the same time. She was rewriting history, breaking records, and cementing her position as one of the greatest athletes, not just in tennis, but in the world. Serena's influence extended far beyond the court. She became a symbol of confidence and empowerment for women around the globe. Her voice grew louder on issues such as equality, representation, and fair treatment. She proved that strength and femininity are not opposites, but powerful partners. In 2017, Serena faced a new chapter in her life: motherhood. She won the Australian Open while 8 weeks pregnant, a demonstration of her unmatched courage and physical strength. Later that year, she gave birth to her daughter, Olympia, an experience filled with complications that threatened her life. This battle showed the world that Serena's strength was not just athletic, it was human and emotional. Returning to tennis after childbirth was another challenge. Many believed Serena could not return to her former level. But once again, she defied expectations. She reached multiple Grand Slam finals, inspiring millions of mothers around the world with her resilience. Though she didn't add more major titles in those final years, her impact grew even larger. Serena eventually announced her evolution away from tennis in 2022, choosing to focus on her family, her businesses, and her personal journey. Her retirement was emotional, celebrated across the globe.